Is that... Does the audio sound extremely choppy to you guys? It sounds horrible in my headphones. It must just be the headphones. What in the world? Or is that just the song? It's a song that... What does this sound like? No, that sounds disgusting too. Well, it sounds fine to you guys. That's all that matters. Hello. That works. Well, if I turn off my headphones, and I'd have to restart the stream. Because I can't get it, because like it, once I reconnect it, I gotta like close down OBS and turn it back on for it to actually pick up. Or maybe I can just like, I could probably figure out a way to fix it, but it's, as long as you guys, it's fine for you guys, it's fine for me. I don't need to actually hear these things. Hello, Falco. Himmel, I already did that. Already too late. Already took notes. Already took notes and been like, man, it sucks that this one's not done. So, you're too late, Himmel. Damage done. Falco's registering for Low Tide City. I'm considering it. Obviously keeping an eye on things, but I'm definitely considering it. What I need to see before my wife and I fully commit to going. I already asked off. So like I'm going to be off for those dates anyways. It's just whether I'll actually go or not. Depends on the state of the world, but I need to see what the current state of the world is. And if I'm convinced that they're not going to cancel the event or reschedule the event without giving out refunds, like full refunds, like they did at Genesis. So like if it, now the audio's just gone. What in the world? All right, let's try this. I think my Bluetooth just exploded. Which is fine. I know how to fix that. Yeah, my Bluetooth exploded there. I can fix that, but that'll require me restarting the computer. So, hold on. Let's see. An old backup pair of headphones that plug in. hope this doesn't break everything. Okay, so I hear it, but you guys don't, so we just gotta change the source of this guy. Speakers, no. Okay, can you guys hear it now? Okay, easy fix. So I'll just delete my Bluetooth driver and then restart the PC afterwards, and then it'll work again. Easy fix. I just don't like these headphones, and this thing's awkward, but whatever. You guys don't care. The YouTube audience doesn't care. A good chunk of the YouTube audience just listens to this. Spotify people only listen to this. They don't even. I cut this section out of the YouTube or the Spotify one. They don't even hear this. Hey, all you people listen to me on Spotify. Y'all suck. They'll never hear that. Dummies. I have to show the bracket anyways. I do. Did you enter all the scores? Div X looks like it's gonna take another 2 months to finish up. Five, 6, 7. I don't care about DivX anyways. I'm going to talk about it to some extent. You're registering before requesting off work? What if they say no? I doubt they would say no. I don't think I've ever been denied a request off work in any situation. I know other people have been, but like even when I worked at Wendy's in high school, like if I was like, hey, I'm not coming in this day 2 weeks from now, they were always just like, okay. And if they were like, hey, we're not letting you take this time off, I'm like, well, I'm calling in sick then. Bye. I'm not gonna be here. Make me. They never would. They're cool. So, hello, Ledge Demon. So you guys took care of business in SAC number 2. Congrats on that. Div 5 already played. Yeah, I knew Div 5 wasn't updated when I saw it, but I already knew the result of that. And now it's updated on the sheet, so. But I already knew Triggerfish won, because I saw the tweets about that. Celebratory tweets. Greetings, Riley. Riley, have you been here for all 98 episodes of the Popcast? I feel like you have. If I knew how to give out VIP roles, or actually I think I've given out all my VIP roles to my teammates, I'd give you one. I think saying that I would give you a VIP role is just as important, or just as meaningful as actually doing it. least that's my thought. Tuki. The only thing I want to know is Div 9 finished? It is not. We still got a grand finals to go in Div 9. I can't wait till we get to that one. Judging by scores, it should be a blowout, but you never know. You can't find it on Spotify? Well, it's on like anchor.fm/popgun. I don't know if that's... I think it's like by Spotify or something. And they're not... Like, it takes like another day before it's up. After I do it live. Like, it's not like a simulcast or something like that. Yeah, Bowen, you're never here for... You're usually here for the 6 o'clock ones. Not the noon ones. Awake early enough. I'm never awake early enough for the podcast. I usually go nappy nap. Alright. I can't listen to that anymore. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Popcast. Whenever you're listening to this, whether it be live or a VOD, Twitch or YouTube, or Spotify, while you're retiring from the NFL after 22 seasons and 7 Super Bowl victories, complaining about the graphics yet again while scouring the Great Plains in the new Pokemon game, deleting your tweets after realizing that you had a horrible, dumbass take on the latest Plus server controversy. Whatever it is that you're doing right now, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to listen to this. Unless I don't. Hey, Tom Brady retiring, if that's true, it keeps saying sources say, and, you know, I'm willing to assume that when they say sources are saying this is going to happen, like 99% of the time it does happen. But if that is true that Tom Brady's retiring, I know the vast majority of you don't care, but you know who Tom Brady is. I've rooted against this dude for, I think it was 5th grade when they won their first Super Bowl, or maybe it was 4th grade. I don't remember, but like it's like Tom Brady and LeBron James. Like, we love to root against these guys, but appreciate them while they're here. You know, maybe some of you like to root against FT Win because they were dominant for so long. Appreciate them while they're here, because we might not get another Tom Brady or LeBron James or FT Win or something like that ever. You don't know. Those things are unicorns. They don't just come around every now and then. Those are shiny unicorns. You got to appreciate them while you got them. News of tournaments that may be of interest to the casual listener to the podcast. The Creator Clash is this weekend. This is run by the folks that run the It's Dangerous to Go Alone tournament. The full roster for this tournament, this invitational, free agent invitational tournament, has already been released. There are 24 people, including myself. How about that? They DM'd me about this like 2 months ago. I was like, sure, that sounds like a fun thing. And I had no idea who else they invited until I got to the server, and I was like, oh, there's a lot of well-known people participating in this tournament. I don't know what the roster, like what teams they're going to put together, like who's going to be on what team. All I know is whatever team I'm on is going to win. Just because my teammates are lucky enough to have me on there. So I don't know. The Saturday, be sure to watch that, I guess. And I don't know. Maybe you'll enjoy watching it. Maybe you won't. I don't care. I need to grind the game. I haven't been playing too consistently the last couple of weeks or so. For a tournament you guys can actually play in, because you're not as cool as me. Minnow Cup is this upcoming Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. It is the Clan Blitz edition of this tournament that does one mode only every other month. I believe it's a bi-monthly tournament now. 17 teams have signed up for it the most recent time that I looked at it. And make sure that you increase that number. Make sure you are signing up for it as well, because it's a good low-level tournament. It's one of the many gajillion low-level tournaments that are allotted to you. So make sure you participate in them, because there's some people who are banned from tournaments like this that would have loved to play in a Minnow Cup back when they were considered low-level. Today, we are recapping the SAC qualifier number 2 and all the talking points that went along with it, because whenever there is a tournament, we need to have a conversation in the feedback channel and Twitter about it, which I always enjoy because it gives me something to talk about here on the Popcast. Also, a big, fat weekly recap, because a lot of tournaments happen over the course of the weekend. Not going to talk about every single one of them, but we're going to highlight the vast majority of them. But first, LUTI's done. Season 12 is officially over, in my opinion. There's still some stragglers going along here. I believe 5 of the 11 divs are still out. They still have matches that need to be done. Div X is just going to take another 6 years to finish that. We'll be on Season 14 before Season 12 Div X is done. But who cares about Div X? Certainly not me. It's been over 2 months. Divs came out on what? November the 16th? Is it the 16th or the 13th? Whichever one was that Saturday around those dates. So it's been over 2 months now since LUTI Divs came out. And we're just now getting to the point to where everything is wrapping up. This is a long tournament. Now, I'm not going to do a full breakdown of like every single group and every single div, because that's going to take too much time. But I am at least going to talk about each div as a whole as quickly as I can, because this could take an entire hour if I wanted it to, but I don't. So let's just breeze through this div at a time, starting with this broken mess of a div right here, which is Div X, which you see, it's a double elimination format, the top cut. The problem with double elimination when you go at 1 week at a time is that it takes forever to get things done here. This match still has to play, this match still has to play, then this match plays, and then the loser of this one will play the winner of this match that isn't even determined yet, and then that loser will get that winner will get the grand opportunity to get their butts destroyed by Starburst yet again. So be it. Now, Starburst, I believe, has lost a grand total of 2 games. Bed took one off of them here, and somebody took one, I believe just one, away from them back in the group stage. Facade didn't. Arctic Moon took one, and Rose didn't either. I did say Bed, I think, was one of the better teams here. Clearly, I was wrong. It was Young Squad, who has been playing really well. Friends has been playing pretty good as well in tournaments outside of this one. Is Friends eliminated here? Friends are eliminated, but they're still a strong team going forward in other tournaments. Young Squad as well, even though I believe this is just mostly like other players on other established teams. But still, it's good to see that there are other strong teams below Starburst that if they were to play in a major or something like that would be exciting to see. But obviously, with the teams that are here, it's just Starburst and then everybody else. Shout outs to Rose for beating Good Morning 53-47. They played 110 games, and Rose was only better by 6 games. That is impressive. How long did this set take? I have no idea, but hats off to those guys for playing a best of 110 set. Barely Rose squeaking this one out from Good Morning. That's an epic set right there. Moving right along to another div that is a little lagging behind, at least the last time I checked. Okay, so here we go. I knew this match was done. It wasn't reported in. So it must have been... did I say 110 when it's supposed to be 100? Math on the fly is difficult. I grew up in Kentucky. Ignore me. I knew this one wasn't put in by the time I checked, but I already knew it because Falco Flyer streamed this one. And I DM'd Falco, and he gave me this information. Gold de Lucas, though, has already beaten Enlight back in the group stage 5-0. Now, somebody's going to be like, well, they didn't actually play that match, or though they played a 2v4 because someone didn't show up or something. There might be something I'm missing there. But regardless, this is a rematch between a team that absolutely dominated the other one. So unless there's something super obvious everyone knows that I don't, Gold de Lucas should win this one. Interestingly enough, all the other teams that were like on the borderline of being Div X, if they were in Div X, if Div X had like 12 teams instead of 8, did pretty good here. I don't think Knights of Queen, I think they dropped. And obviously Rising Matrix, no, Knights of Queen did play, or did they actually play? No, they dropped. Okay. And Rising Matrix dropped like the day after Divs came out. Not saying they were on the borderline of being Div X or something like that, but all the teams who you would expect to do really well did still do really well. But Gold de Lucas has really, really turned on the Jets in this tournament. I don't think a lot of people, I could be wrong, but I don't think a lot of people saw these guys being as dominant as they have been here. Div 2, I was right. I was right about something. Kinda. I said Dreamscape was scary. I said I was afraid of Dreamscape when they were in our group because they've literally never lost a LUTI match ever. They went undefeated, I believe, in Div 4 last time, and they're still undefeated right here. And they've been, I mean, they squeaked past Jonas in our group 5-4, and my team had them beat 2-0. If LUTI was best of 3, we would have beat them, but it's best of 9, and then they figured out how to beat us, and it was like, uh-oh, we can't touch these guys anymore. But they've been steamrolling people. I can't believe they 5-0'd Operation Paradox right here. Like, what in the world is that? That was, and, you know, I believe Summit took him to a game 4 as well, which Summit got ate alive by Selk here. So I don't know how competitive this will be, but Dreamscape is a team that is improving week after week after week and are just getting way scary good. So I don't know how this one's going to finish up, just because I don't know anything about Selk other than the fact that they're beating teams I actually know seemingly pretty handily here. But Dreamscape is just, they've just been different. Whoever that Kyle guy is on T-Tech, my goodness, that guy's ridiculous. Moving right along to Div 3. Now, here's where a lot of people are going to start crying about the seeding council. Because there are some teams here in Div 3 that would do really well in Div 2, maybe argue that they could do really well in Div 1, and this is where I'm going to point back to, okay, where were these teams on November the 16th when Divs came out? Sirius, just a month prior, was trying to sign up for Low Inc. So just a month prior to Divs coming out, they saw themselves as Div 5. We denied it because we thought they were borderline too good with the results they had. If Sirius had the results they had today, they would not be in Div 3. And they proved it by just absolutely destroying everybody along the way, going up against Rising Wave, who was another one of those teams where it's like, man, I think what kept Rising Wave out of Div 2 was just they played in a couple of tournaments leading up to it, and they just did not do very good in those tournaments. When you're splitting hairs between who should be in what div, those little things are kind of the difference that people make the argument for. Now, does Rising Wave winning Div 3 surprise me? Did they prove us wrong? No, they proved us right. We put them in this div assuming they were going to win it. I didn't think Sirius was going to be this good. Sirius has just flipped. Sirius is just a different team than what they were in November. That's just a straight up fact. And I don't. Yeah, they finished second place here, but that doesn't mean they're still not a monster that they are. So these two teams strong going forward. I don't think Rising Wave has been playing in SAC. Would love to see that. So shout out to Simtopia, another former low rank team finishing in fourth place, or third place there. See, look how quickly we're getting through this. All right, this match, I'm convinced, has not been played yet, which is fine. Blackmagic versus Cascade Duck Crew. I'm glad the Ducks are doing this well in Div 4 because I'm still upset that they beat us in Super Jump when I feel like we should have put them away in those Rainmaker game when we didn't. So the fact that they're going on here, taking on Blackmagic is a little bit relieving for me. However, Blackmagic... I don't know who these guys were specifically, but the more I look into them, it's basically a reincarnation of Ink Pressure. It's Sedzar is the more notable player that I've recognized over the years that is on this team. And I forget what like Ink Pressure was before then, like Test Dummies or something like that. No. It's something Warriors. I forget. I tried to look through my team's book because I know we've played them before, but regardless, this is a team that is full of players that are very experienced in the game. And Blackmagic, I've been seeing them play in some other tournaments and ripping up some people there as well. Good to see ITAP do this well. Fruit Gummies, again, thank Roundy for recognizing you guys at the last minute. Otherwise, you would be stuck in Div 9 because who the heck was Fruit Gummies? We didn't really know. And obviously, Wipeout Punks doing really well. We'll be talking more about Wipeout Punks later. Cold Coral here finishing in third place. This team played in one low ink and one beta bracket, and we showed them the door, rightfully so. They're a really strong team in their own right. But I feel like I don't remember who all I said was going to be really good. I feel like I probably didn't say Blackmagic and the Ducks. I probably would have said something like Unlucky, just because they hadn't lost and I hadn't seen them lose just yet. How good did Unlucky did they get knocked out in round 1? They did. Barely got knocked out by the Ducks, who might just go on to win the whole thing. Who knows? Leviathan Warriors, thank you. That is correct. That is correct. Div 5. And now here's where it gets kind of weird. Triggerfish Supremacy. This is kind of a fusion of the Guerrilla Tactics team that won low ink back in what was that, December or November? That was November. They played in high ink. But here's the thing. Where do you put this team? Because they have Kraken Mayor on the roster, which is a former Div 1 player and probably is the best player in all of Div 5 here. But where do you, when you have a former high-level player playing with a bunch of low ink players, where do you put that team? This is one of the more debated teams because we don't really know where to put them. They ended up in Div 5 and they ended up winning the whole thing. Persistence beat them, but Triggerfish made it seem like they threw that set or something. It doesn't matter. It still counts as a win for Persistence. There's no asterisk next to any wins in this game. You straight up lost to Persistence, however you want to put it. But still, they went on and they win this one, and I feel like it's fine. I feel like that's fair because it's so hard to determine when you have like a team that's this mixed skill level. It's so hard to figure out where you put any of those teams. If they end up in Div 5 and they win it, so be it. The real team that's been glowing up here is Kraken United, and this is why I had them at number 1, because they just swept Solution 5-0 here in Div 5, and we're going on to Grand Finals, and you're like, okay, this team is really strong. Now they lost in low ink to Lois, and I believe Ocean 7 knocked them out in a best of 3, but still, Crack United is going to be a good team going forward because they're getting a lot of good wins in tournaments outside of low ink, which again is a different format, but that's just how life is. Solution and Snowfall are going to be playing here in the third place match, so I guess still needs to be done. Div 6. I streamed this one. Lois versus Legato. This was really exciting. Legato had Lois beat. They straight up had him beat, and then Link just made a sneaky play, and Legato just lost track of where that slosher was. Make sure you can see the VOD of that on my YouTube if you so desire. But a lot of people were watching this one live. Now, here's the case. I said this on that stream, and I'll say it here now. You can plug any one of these two teams into Div 5 Grand Finals, and I think they would be just as I think they would have just as much chance of winning Div 5 as they did Div 6. Triggerfish Zones is a little bit not miles, but they're a little bit above all the other traditional low-ink alpha bracket teams that you saw in the finals of Div 5 and Div 6, but still, these teams are right with the guys at Div 5. So, but again, why are they in Div 6 instead of Div 5? Who were these guys back when divs came out? They were not better than the teams that we had traditionally. They didn't have a better resume than teams traditionally in Div 5 that we did put in Div 5. Blue Moon and Kappa being the teams that got the most value out of this Div 6 season. Obviously playing a really tight match here in the bronze match. And this Legato Outcast Ninja match was a lot closer than what you would suggest the 5-0 would be as well. That also I streamed, and it's up on YouTube. Div 7. We got a low ink champion team here winning this one. The Sweepy Shields. Again, I feel like I'm just sitting here justifying all these things, but I want you guys to understand, because you look at it and say, how could you be Div 7 but also winning low ink? Because the Sleeping Seals were making beta brackets. No, I don't think they even made beta bracket by the time they played in this one. They might have had one beta bracket and like no gammas and all the other low inks, so that's why they ended up here. But this Blazing Storm team really popped off at SAC, so this is another strong team that got stuck down here in Div 7 as well. Squid Killers constantly improving against all the teams that they're playing against. Finding ways to take 3 games off of the low ink champion Sweepy Shields. So Squid Killers really improving. They would have made alpha bracket in the most recent low ink. They just had to drop because they had to play this set, actually. I think they either played this set or this set on that Sunday low ink. I'm assuming it's this one. So we'll be seeing them in alpha bracket going forward, I would imagine. Div 8, America. And you got Mystical Ink and Absolute Zero. These I streamed this one. Absolute Zero just looking now. I think MC Lumistars was just having some issues that day, but still Absolute Zero was clearly the better team in that set. And this one went to another game 5. So Mystical Ink winning all of Div 8, America. A lot more, this one's not crazy competitive. With the lower divs, sometimes you just get like teams that are just clearly better than others. You see a lot of 5-0s here, but you also see a lot more competitive things as well. Drifting Tide looking like the true number 2 team, or not the true number 2, but like the true number 3 team here. Barely losing to Mystical Ink and then sweeping Lumistars. Drifting Tide, I want to see these guys play in other tournaments. They're League Warriors. They're pretty good at the game, it looks like. Play in low ink, play in Little Squid League. I think you do pretty good in that. Div 8 the world. My Lag Paradise won this one, 5-0. Again, why is My Lag Paradise in Div 8? Because they played in one low ink and went 2-4, and that was it. And then ever since then, they were like, oh, let's just become a really good team all of a sudden. And they did. So not but my Lag Paradise just kind of stomping this right here. Clearly too good for Div 8, but you couldn't have justified them being higher than that at the time. Ink in the System looking pretty strong here as well. 5-0ing Tinta Shrimp Ramen. Indiglo, I've been talking about these guys a lot because I've been seeing them play in a lot of tournaments and grinding. And keep in mind, this was like 3 weeks ago. I'm assuming Indiglo is a little bit better since then, and we're only going to see good things from them going forward. Also, shout out to Tacos for making playoffs here. I think I accidentally missed them on the preview, skipped over them, so I wanted to acknowledge that they did good here. This is where things get interesting. This is where things get really interesting. So you got Div 9. You got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles taking on this. What is this? IR, and then there's like a broken letter in there, and another I, and a C that's kind of bleeding at the bottom, and a lowercase t. What the hell is that? I don't. So this I team is taking on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Here's what's interesting about this: the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have lost one game to the Cat Purglers, right? Cat Purglers 5-0'd them. Again, oh, well, they played 1v4. How could you not know that? I don't know. But it looked like a curb stomp for the Cat Purglers here. But they lost to this team, this I team, who does play in Little Squid League. Now, keep in mind, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat the Maxaria team, which is a team we have banned from Low Inc. because it's basically the reincarnation of Rising Stars, and they were popping off in SOS. So the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles beat a team that's banned from Low Inc., but also got swept by a team that is in Little Squid League. So that is very suspicious. They lost to a team that lost to a Little Squid League team. And it's not like these Cat Purgler guys were bad or anything like that. They 5-0'd this group. How did the Turtles do against Tood Morning? They didn't even play them. Okay. Weird. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. It's just Div 9. It's not. We don't even know who these players are. These could just be people smurfing for all we know. They have to be. I mean, they're really good. They beat this team. Are the Ninja Turtles banned from Low Inc? Like, if they were to sign up for Low Inc, would they be banned from it? I have no idea. It has to be somebody smurfing. It has to be. Otherwise, these are just the most dominant casuals of all time. I don't know. I think they're going to win Div 9. And it's funny because I think a lot of people pick the Turtles to win Div 9 just because of their funny name. And they're going to end up being right off of that. So there you go. So there's a quick little 25-minute recap of LUTI. One thing I want to point out. This was a long season because it was ran over the holidays, and that sucks. Like makeup week, like the time that we were supposed to use to make up all these matches you couldn't play during the season was during Christmas and New Year's, and it was difficult to find times for doing all of that. So that's why I was saying, hey, don't use your replay, because having to do makeups is going to be really difficult. And a lot of you used your replays in week 1 and you spent Christmas. There were my goodness, my group, I think we had 2 teams in my group that had to play 3 matches in 1 week just to get them all in. It was a total farce. Shoutouts to Jonas for being done on time. I don't know how you guys were lucky enough to convince the other teams to play you. But congrats for doing it before Christmas. Wow. Part of the issue here is that some teams don't need to sign up for LUTI. Like, I honestly feel like there needs to be some sort of rule that says you need at least 6 players on your roster to play in LUTI. Now, there's still going to be teams, even if you have 6 players on your roster, you're still going to be like, well, the 4 that actually play aren't available, so we're just going to have to use our reschedule or something like that. But there's some teams that just sign up with just 4 players, and it's like one of them goes to high school and one's got a part-time job and the other one's married. There was a team in our group who I swear the only time they were available was on the 4th full moon after the spring equinox. Like come on, if you only got 4 people and you're never available, you shouldn't sign up for LUTI. It's not a tournament for you. And I understand the appeal of signing up for LUTI to get the div so you can have the title next to your name or whatever, which I'm going to argue in a second is something that's kind of, I feel like, has waned in the community, which is a good thing. But there are just straight up some teams that don't need to play in LUTI. They just straight up do not need to be playing in LUTI. It's not because they're bad or anything like that. You're just not available. You're making the experience less fun for everybody else. And I'm not just talking about one team. There are several teams across all these divs. I'm sure everyone has one team in their group that was just like, really? The only time you can play is Tuesday at 2 a.m.? Really? It's been kind of frustrating. Now, people still care about this tournament. I was thinking there's like fatigue going on here. It's been over 2 months. Everybody's been eliminated. People don't care about LUTI. No, people are still caring about this tournament, which is why you would want DivX to speed up, because there's going to be some exciting things when you get to that. But I casted the Div 6 finals. And I tweeted out last week about how like people have random tournament streams on their personal channels, and the quality sucks and the commentators suck and all that stuff. I did Div 6 finals with my stream with no advertisement. I just tweeted out, "Hey, I'm live. This is the Div 6 finals." And I just like threw all that together. They DM'd me like just that afternoon, so I only had like 6 hours to prepare for it or so. Threw up a scoreboard, like just the most generic scoreboard ever. Like it was just me commentating, which I'm a fantastic commentator, but it's not like it was a high value production or anything like that. The numbers from that stream, I averaged 61 viewers and peaked at 97 for a Div 6 finals. That is crazy for the end of a tournament with no prize at the end of it. After 2 months where you think there'd be a lot of fatigue, almost 100 people were watching Legois take on Legato in Div 6. If you want if you want to boost your stream, commentate and like cast one of these final sets. You're going to get a ton of people watching these sets. People love watching LUTI sets. Tournament participation drops because of LUTI, right? Like SOS, Slow Inc., all these other tournaments will have less teams sign up for it during LUTI. I think that's fine, though, in my opinion, because LUTI is still driving the conversation. There's still people watching Splatoon on Twitch that maybe not normally watch Splatoon on Twitch because it's a LUTI match. There's people that are talking about LUTI on Twitter because LUTI is, because people are talking about Splatoon on Twitter because of LUTI. It's driving conversation, and even though it hinders other tournaments, it's only for like a month and a half, and then everybody, as soon as teams get eliminated, they just immediately come back. As soon as playoff weeks or makeup weeks ended, SOS has been hitting the cap for their teams, 32 every single week, and they've had to start denying teams who've been signing up with like 2 or 3 hours left on sign up. So once everything ends, it's not like because tournaments are less participated that teams aren't playing. Teams are still playing. They're just not playing. They're just playing in LUTI. So it's a good thing. LUTI is driving conversation. I feel like less teams dropped this time around. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention as deeply as I did last season. But it just feels like more teams have been actually playing the sets out. And I think it's just because people are starting to change their mindset from what this tournament is. Again, it's not a ranking system for the entire community. I know we kind of bleed in or feed into that mindset. I know Lowink uses divs as a guideline, as like a line in the sand, even though we still treat everything as a case-by-case basis. But I think more people are just seeing this as, okay, here's the other teams I play against. Let me just play against them. And that's what this is. Nobody's defined by their LUTI div specifically anymore. And I mean, yes, you can make the argument that there still are, but I feel like the people are more interested in being defined by what plus server you're in, what's your voting percentage for this month. Oh, I got 2 more voting percents this month than I did last time. That means I'm better. That's what people seem to care about. We have individualized this team sport so much that the identity of what you are as a team doesn't hold much value anymore. And if that's what it takes for teams to just sign up for LUTI and play in it and not care what div they're in, fine. I'm all for that. If that's what it takes to make LUTI an actual tournament and not a ranking system, I see that as a dub. Aside, when is LUTI's season 13 going to be? I don't know. I haven't reached out to Emil yet, but I want to get Emil back on for the 100th episode. Maybe we can talk to Emil then. Emil, I know you're listening. I'll DM you at some point, see if we can set that up. If not, then I'll just talk crap about you on episode 100. How about that? Oi. All right. Moving on. It is time for the weekly recap.
Good evening. My name is JPEG, representing IPL. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a reading of the LUTI rules.
What?
These rules are up to date.
No, that's not. Why does this always happen? I didn't mean to do that. What even is that? I've never heard that before in my life. Interesting, unrelated side note. Did you know it's in the LUTI rules that you can't change your name from what the Battlefy IGN is? Isn't that crazy? Like, shouldn't you just have your frickin' name be what it is on Battlefy anyways, instead of being a little turd? It's so crazy that that's in the rules. Anyways, let's click on the right link this time. No SOS this week. Usually takes the last week of the month off. In its place is Layer Cake, a tournament hosted by Roundy and the Bad Ideas Only crew. Won by Summit, 3-2 over Campfire, Shimmer taking third place. That was the candle bracket. The cake bracket was won by Thimbo IHOP. The frost bracket was won by Los Lincientos Cristosos, 2007. I didn't understand what the format of this was because it was pitched as a combination of SOS and LUTI, but when I looked at it, it seemed like just SOS, but then I looked closer and was like, oh, wait a minute. The number one team in this group is like a Div 4 team, and the number one team in that group is like a arguably Div 1 team. So I DM'd Roundy, and basically it was a group. The groups were set up in the same format as SOS, except the groups were put together based off teams that are around the same skill level. So it's like, it's LUTI in the sense that teams were put into a same kind of category, and then the groups were built around those same categories, if that makes sense. So the groups were designed not to be this team seed 1 beats team seed 4 and 2 beats 3. It's just more like, here's 4 teams that are close to each other. We're going to put them in the same group, and then they're automatically going to move on to a certain bracket based on how well they do in that one. Interesting idea. I don't know. You know, it's interesting. It's different. And I'd be curious to see more of something like that in the future. Because, like, you look at SOS, there's some teams that sign up for it that are like, okay, bless your heart, there's no way you're making Hammerhead bracket. But there's still value in the fact that they get to be beaten by stronger teams before they get into a bracket with teams around their skill level. So I'm not saying this is better or worse than SOS, but I think it's an idea worth fleshing out a little bit more. Dolphin Cup was won by Overseas. Overseas is okay. Basically Leafy.Q, Kai, and man, I wish I could read my own handwriting here. I cannot read my own handwriting. I forget who this fourth player is. Minority took second place, and Holler +1 takes third. This was a double elimination zones only tournament that had 21 teams playing in it. A lot of strong players as well. But there's usually a lot of strong players play in one tournament, the others do as well, but still a lot of notable name brand players missing from this tournament. So where were they? Enter the Battle of the Blushes, which was going on roughly at the same time on Sunday. Won by Titanium Turtle, Ice Bagel Biscuit, and Brushy, whoever Brushy was. Pushin' B took second place, and the Kings, yes, the Kings took third place. This was a brush-only tournament. There's only 6 weapons that you could choose from. And it turns out, in my opinion, Tower Control Anchovy Games is something you can't do in a brush tournament because you can just spam Inkjet along the fan wall, and there's like no way you can cancel that Inkjet with a brush. So it was cool to see like how teams would break this tournament. And I think a couple of them did find a way to do it. $400 was the total prize, at least last I saw. I think more donations were coming in afterwards, not totally sure. But the $400 is what it was that was distributed amongst the top finishing teams. And it drew out all the big dogs for this gimmick tournament, hosted by King Maker, another tournament that is once again gimmick themed. that will draw out a lot of strong level players. It doesn't matter what the rule set are. If there's money, they will flock to it like nothing else. Hopefully we can get a... We've had like 4 straight gimmick tournaments before we've had like an actual normal rule set tournament. I don't know if that's the state of the game or what, but here we are. The Rams came back on the 49ers, and they are going to host the Bengals, who eliminated the Kansas City Chiefs. They will play in the Super Bowl in a couple of weeks. Hey, the 2 teams I said I wanted to win did. And if the Rams, I'm a lifelong Rams fan. Ever since they won the Super Bowl in 3rd grade, and it's been a miserable experience ever since then. If the Rams don't win the Super Bowl, I'm happy that it's not going to go be another trophy given to Tom Brady, but it's going to be a trophy given to the Cincinnati Bengals that have just been absolutely dumped on for the past 30 years. One team is going to get there, is going to get something good coming to him. So that's why I'm excited about this Super Bowl. Unless I'm not. Also, the Megalodon Cup happened this past Sunday as well, but all the names and logos of the teams that won were weird and uncomfortable. Not anything like a graphic or anything like that. It's just the players changed their names, and the other team that took 2nd place had a really weird logo. So I was like, why am I just going to sit here and say things that mean nothing to anybody involved? So Megalodon Cup happened yesterday. There you go. And that was your weekly recap, sponsored by Kingmaker, who hosted a tournament the past weekend and helped, made a little bit of a donation to IPL as well last night. So the official sponsor of today's episode of the weekly recap. Thank you, Kingmaker. What is this? This is nothing. Perfect. That's what we like to see. SAC, Easy C, SAC. Just call it SAC, you weirdos. Qualifier number 2 is now in the books from Saturday. First time ever commentating a SAC tournament. I've always played in them, not in every single one. I've taken a tournament off here or there sometimes, but for the first time ever, I actually commentated an SAC tournament. That was, it was just like commentating any other tournament, I guess. Wasn't as magical as I thought it would be. Raccoon Soup taking all the points, the maximum amount of points that are available in this one by beating Tempest, finished in 2nd place, who I assume is still, since they won the first tournament and now finished 2nd place in this one, they're probably miles above everybody on the, I think they're pretty much guaranteed to make the final bracket after this one now, with all the points they've accumulated in the first 2 tournaments. Campfire finishing in 3rd place. And knocking off Narwhal Gaming in the process. Campfire lost in semifinals, and then the team they were supposed to play in 3rd place dropped. I don't think the 3rd place team realized, hey, you're playing for points. You kind of want to actually play the 3rd place match in this tournament. You're not just getting a fake bronze medal. You're actually playing for some points there. But Campfire beating Narwhal Gaming, a team that just shows up whenever they feel like into SOS and just wins it and then escapes into the night. That's a good win for Campfire, and that's why I'm kind of nervous about playing Campfire whenever we actually do, because they are a really strong team. If you get them on the wrong maps, it's hard to beat them. 58 teams signed up for this tournament. Only 7 less than the last time. I was not expecting that. I was expecting more like 35 to 40 teams only signing up for this tournament. Yeah, I mean, I knew there was going to be a drop-off, but only 7 teams? And my team being one of them. Destiny Troops, we're kind of burnt out on playing the game. We've been playing for 3 straight years, and we're like, I feel like there's going to be more SAC seasons that come, so it might be better just to kind of pump the brakes for now. We might play in like tournament 3 or tournament 4, but we're not trying to go for that top final tournament just yet. And I think some other teams took that same mindset. I don't think I saw Summit or some of it play again. But I think they announced on Twitter, they're like, that first tournament's too long. We're not going to touch this anymore. But regardless, just 7 less teams than before. That is crazy. I expected way less teams to sign up for this one. Maybe that'll happen in tournament number 3. I don't know. Another thing I want to point out now that I think about it, literally just now, a huge reason why less teams sign up in tournament 2 over tournament 1 the last couple of seasons is because the time zone always changed from tournament 1 to tournament 2. Tournament 1 was like the universal EUNA friendly time zone, and then tournament 2 was like a Saturday night tournament, which pretty much killed any EU team. So that's probably why less teams played in tournament 2 last time, but still 58 teams for tournament number 2. That's a lot for SAC. I'm curious if that's a record for tournament 2 in any SAC season. A lot of changes took place, or maybe not a lot, but at least significant changes took place from tournament number 1. Because I knew, as much as you guys complained about certain things, which I argued were credible things to complain about, the SAC staff pays attention, and they're striving to become a better tournament in every tournament that they do. So they took the feedback into consideration. Less rounds this time around. Now, that has to do with participation dropping, but I have a feeling that even if the same number of teams were to show up, they would have found a way to get down to 5 rounds instead of 6. Anyways, don't quote me on that. That's just, I think that was just the mindset behind it. But getting down to 5 rounds instead of Swiss cuts out a whole extra round and makes things go a little bit faster, like 35 to 40 minutes faster. Top Cut was quicker as well. All the rounds were best of 3 up until grand finals, which was best of 5. So the best of 7 grand finals is gone. It's now just best of 5. The tournament went from 6 hours in tournament 1 to just 4 hours in tournament 2. 2 hours quicker than tournament 1. That is nice. That's really nice. And I'm fine with these changes. Again, I didn't play in it, but as just a perspective, I'm fine with the changes because it's just a qualifier. And that's something that we kind of get in a mindset. Nobody's going to remember who won tournament 3 a month from now. But you're going to remember who wins grand finals, the final tournament, and that's what it's all about. These are just qualifiers. These are just opportunities to build up as many points as you can so that you're one of the top 8 teams at the end of the season. So these don't need to be massive, grand, 6-hour-long tournaments with epic grand finals of best of 7s and all this stuff. No, like having best of 3s up to a best of 5 makes sense because it is, again, a qualifier. It's just a precursor to the actual event. So a shorter bracket, a Top Cut makes a lot of sense with that kind of logic in mind. Now, people are still going to complain as well as it's our human right, especially as Americans, to complain about everything, even if there's no real logic behind it. This time around, the only negative feedback was, we want round 6 back. What? Aren't you guys complaining about the length of the tournament? Well, you make the length of the tournament better, and then all of a sudden we're like, we'll make it longer now. See, you can never please anybody. Now, I think the reason behind some of the mindset of people complaining that they should have had an extra round is because it's all relative. If my team is the number 5 seed currently, I want another round to get another win to sneak up into top 4. If my team is currently in the top 4, I don't want another round because I have nothing to gain. I only have something to lose. So yeah, it's where, I want a round 6. Okay, really? If you were 4-1 right now and in Top Cut, you probably don't want a round 6. You're probably going to be like, oh no, I think 5 rounds is just perfect. But still, if you can't please everybody, the best thing you do is just make the tournament shorter. I don't think anybody there was done playing 4 rounds of Splatoon is like, man, I could really play 2 more hours of this tournament. I don't know. No, I'd rather go eat food or, shovel snow out of my driveway. I'll do a breakdown after next tournament of like what the playoff scenarios can be, like who needs to do what in tournament 4 to qualify for a spot in like the final tournament. But so I haven't looked at the point spread yet. I would assume Campfire, after winning a bronze bracket and then third place, is pretty high up there. I know Tempest obviously has got to be high up there. Raccoon Soup, who didn't play tournament 1, won tournament 2, so I would assume they're. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, because some other teams like Summit finished really high in the first tournament and they didn't play some of it. So it's like not everybody's playing in all these tournaments, but these teams that will consistently play and just make top cut or win one of the lower brackets that you put in there, you're going to find your way in the top 8 easily. It's just about consistency. Now, one of the things that was mentioned in the feedback channel is something I kind of want to do a little bit more of a in-depth conversation about. Since there was a couple of Div 1 teams that are basically competing for grand finals and playing in semifinals of top cut, there was a case that could be made by some people that were like, hey, this isn't mid-level. If you have Div 1 teams winning your tournament, can you really advertise it as a mid-level tournament? Now, I don't want to debate what is and ain't mid-level or high-level or any of that stuff. It's all subjective. There's no bylaw. There's no rule that says, if you have this kind of result, you are technically mid-level, and if you beat this team in this circumstance, you are 100% high-level. Like, no, it's all a fugazi. It's not real. It's not quantifiable, right? So what you think is mid-level and what I think is mid-level, who knows? Who cares? The point I want to talk about here, though, is a specific group of players or teams that are probably the most frustrated about the whatever the current ceiling is for SAC. That would be the group of teams that are freshly banned from low ink within the last couple of months, or got in Div 4, feel like they should still be in low ink, even though they got Div 4 and are playing in this SAC tournament and not doing particularly well. And I can understand that. You played in low ink. You've been like a consistent alpha bracket monster, or maybe you made alpha bracket one time and then you popped off in some other tournaments and got yourself banned from low ink. And then you go from being at the top of the low level structure that we have to going down to being one of the bottom teams in SAC. You got some low inked banned teams that went 0-5, 1-4, a lot of 2-3 results from teams that we would absolutely not let into low ink, but there's really, really struggling to get any wins here in SAC. It's kind of like it's like you're a high school senior and you graduate and you're like, yeah, I'm the big dog. And then you go to college and then all of a sudden you're back at the bottom of the totem pole and it's like, oh, this sucks. I kind of want to go back to high school. I think a lot of people experience that IRL, and I think some of you in high school will experience that at some point if you end up going to college. But what you fail to realize is, well, the more time I spend in college and I get to my sophomore and junior year of college, then I'm just going to be more accustomed to this. I'm going to be better and I'm going to be more suited. I'm going to become the top dog in college. Now, it sucks going from the top of the world back down to the bottom, but eventually you do get back up to the top. Now, I think that's the main mindset that's going on here. Now, you could argue, because of last season, some teams were looking, I'm banned from low ink. Low ink banned teams made top 8 last SAC season, so this is a spot that's just guaranteed for me. That's kind of an issue about last season, and I pointed this out several times. Last season, you could fail to win low ink and then turn around and win SAC the next week, because that literally happened. That should not be happening, though. Again, I've said this last time. If you were to look at this tournament with glasses, and you took them off and you cleaned your glasses, put them back on, you see, oh wait, this isn't SAC. This is Midway. Which is kind of what it is. It's advanced. It's a Splatoon advanced circuit. It's not the old SAC that it used to be. And you're seeing more. What you're seeing is teams traditionally in Midway finishing near the top with a bunch of other teams signing up for it. Now, is it probably frustrating for a lot of low ink band teams that this is the next step, is just playing teams that are going to win SOS in Squid Junction anyways, because they're the same kind of teams that sign up for it? Yes. A couple things I want to point out here, though. One, there is a path to grow, just like in low ink. How do you think the teams that finish 1-5 in low ink, the teams that finish 2-4, how do you think those teams feel? Probably a little frustrated, but we have countless stories of teams that were 2-4 at one point that are now becoming alpha bracket monsters and winning low ink. Destiny Troops was a good example of that, and that is the 10th time he's referenced Destiny Troops winning low ink. Ding! Man, I'm really going to live. I'm just going to take that to the grave, aren't I? Xanadu is a good example. My Lag Paradise is a good example of a team that's popped off since then. And countless of deep fried octolings. I could go on if I just sat here and thought about it. But this is kind of like the reset button. You're going to have teams in SAC going 0-5, 1-4, that maybe not this season, maybe not next season, but the season after that could be, and now that seasons are going to be coming out more consistently, can be starting to qualify for those gold brackets and start challenging for those top cuts because they're grinding and growing against stronger teams against them. It's the same thing in low ink. Number 2, if this isn't a mid-level tourney, someone forgot to tell a lot of these teams that they're not supposed to be doing as well as they are. A lot of freshly-ish banned low ink teams that got into Div 4 or something like that are really popping off right here. Typhoon, Synergy, BLT, Persistence, Unlucky, Deep Fried, excuse me, the Deep Fried Octolings, all having pretty promising results in the most recent couple of tournaments, if not the most recent tournament. Can we talk about Wipeout Punks for a minute? Wipeout Punks, a Div 4 team that played in the last low ink in November, didn't have their full roster for Sunday, got eliminated early, and they've been banned ever since. Somebody forgot to tell Wipeout Punks that they're supposed to go 1-4 in this tournament because they went 4-1, qualified for silver bracket, and won it, spanking legit Div 2 teams along the way. Okay. Hey, it's not a mid-level tournament, Wipeout Punks. You're not supposed to be doing this good. This tournament isn't for you. Okay. Well, there's still going to be examples of teams that are going to pop off anyways. Not everybody gets to pop off. I'm sorry. We can't create a tournament for everyone to where everybody gets a win. And this is the third point I want to make. With low ink, if you don't do particularly well in low ink, you still have something to look forward to, right? You still have Little Squid League, which is a tournament built for teams that don't do well in low ink. And the teams that win Little Squid League usually get, like, the next month are getting placed directly into alpha bracket. Like they're finding ways to make alpha bracket all the time. I think we had 4 low ink champions qualify for alpha bracket last low ink. So maybe there needs to be something specifically for these teams that are going 1-4 and 0-5 in SAC. It's not low ink again. Stop. We don't need to be, oh, honey, I'm sorry. Did SAC hurt your feelings? Come back down here and beat up on low ink teams and make alpha bracket and try to win low ink again. That doesn't help you. What you need is a tournament maybe for teams that are just at that same kind of ban from low ink thing to play against each other. But do we really need to create that? That is the thing. It's do we need to make tournaments so that everybody can win one at some point? No, because then winning a tournament becomes devalued and watered down over the course of time. It has to be something that needs to be earned. And I know a lot of teams are looking at this saying, how am I going to win a tournament against Tempest? Probably not. You're probably not going to beat Tempest or Raccoon Soup or Summit. You're probably not going to happen. But you grow over time, maybe a season or two, those teams are out. You are now the big dog. It's how it works in low ink. It's how it's going to work here as well. With that being said, I mean, would I be surprised if a middle Squid League were to pop up? No, I wouldn't be against something like that. I think something like that is fine. But what low level needs to understand is you guys have been spoiled more so than any other generation of low-level teams that grew up in a low-level has been in the past. You guys get a whole major. You guys get a monthly major just for yourselves. You get a feeder tournament with Little Squid League. You get Minnow Cup, which is very well run as well. You got Launch Point. You don't have to do voting crap. You have Launch Point now, and now you don't have to get Twitter clout to get into midpoint. You can just get put into Ink Odyssey once you graduate from Launch Point. You got a guy, a Div 2 balding dude who talks about you on a weekly basis. Like, you guys are so spoiled. And I don't mean that in a negative way. That's a good way. You guys should be spoiled because for the longest time, low level was crap. But you guys finally got a great infrastructure. But once you get kicked out of that infrastructure because you're too good and you see this mid-level hell that a lot of people have been floating around in for a long time, it just kind of sinks in. Oh, mid-level kind of sucks. Yeah, newsflash, it sucks in mid-level. So maybe let's start identifying what all needs to happen to help improve mid-level. And maybe one of you guys can do a mid-level podcast or something like that. I'm sitting here talking about mid-level basically every other week as well, so maybe I'm morphing into that. But there's something I want you guys to realize. Once you get out of low level, mid-level needs a lot of help. So maybe we can start taking the things that everybody's learned in this new system of low level. Once you graduate from that, we can find ways to kind of take this and build it into mid-level. That helps that out as well. But at least for the time being, you're going to have to figure out how to beat Tempest if you want to be a team that stands at the top of the podium. Good luck with that. I don't know what the ceiling should be just yet. Again, I'm not a TO. Some people still DM me questions about SAC. No, I just do low ink. That's it. There's like 5 other tournaments that run underneath IPL. I just do low ink. But I will say this. The TOs for SAC are doing their best to try to make every single tournament better than the last one. Case in point, you see the adjustment tournament 1 to tournament 2. Very nice adjustment a lot of people seem to like. So you would assume that when the next season comes out, there'll be another adjustment. Maybe the ceiling will get lowered. Maybe the ceiling will get raised. Who knows? Regardless, this tournament series is going to consistently get better. The proof is in the pudding with that. And I don't blame people for complaining. I don't blame people for being upset or feeling like this isn't the what I was expecting it to be. Having these kinds of conversations is how we improve and get better. But at least for the time being, welcome to mid-level. It sucks. But we'll figure it out together. With that being said, let's end this episode right here. Episode 99, right around the corner. If you'd like to be a part of the Popcast in any way, reach out to me at my socials below. Twitter, Mr_Popgun, Discord, Popgun, #5882, YouTube at Popgun25, YouTube at 25 Popgun, Twitch at Popgun25, Anchor.fm/Popgun, TikTok at Mr_Popgun. I don't know who this AP6 person is or what language they even speak, but we'll raid them and see what happens. Sign up for Minnow Cup, watch the Creator Clash, and go Rams. I guess that's not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after that. Make sure you guys get vaccinated. Keep wearing your masks. Don't do anything stupid. Don't die. And we'll be all right. We'll be heading into the next week. A-okay. Also, a big snowstorm coming in here in Indiana over the course of this week. Try to avoid that.